Have any of you heard the expression that networking isn't about what you know, but who you know? Yeah? How many of you believe it? I did too, but my life experiences would prove me wrong. My life experiences have taught me and continue to teach me that networking isn't about what you know or who you know. Networking is about who knows you and ultimately who trusts you. As an educator, I'd like to prove my point right away. Any of you wondering how I got the opportunity to be in front of all of you here tonight? I can be honest and say that I have looked into giving a TED conference in the past. I did a ton of research on the conferences and the organizers, and I knew a lot about the organizers. But just because I knew a lot about them doesn't mean that they knew anything about me. So yes, I applied, and I'm sure you can guess my response rate. It was 0. And then something magical happened last fall. One of my students asked to meet for office hours. We met on the 3rd floor of Weiser Hall, and I met her at the front door, because as everybody knows, at 5 p.m. the door is locked. So I took her, we walked back to one of the small conference rooms, grabbing coffee along the way. So we chit-chatted a little bit, and then she handed me her resume. She wanted my thoughts. What do I see at the top of the experience section? TEDx U of M. I remember asking, what do you do for TEDx U of M? Her response, I identify speakers. How do you do that? And then she responded with, just like this, Tina Sula, I think it's time for you to give a TED Talk. So I laughed out loud, the real LOL, grabbed my phone, and I asked if I could take a picture. And I said that if I indeed would have the opportunity to give a TED Talk, I wanted to share the story and the picture with the audience. So here is that picture. The person you see on the screen, to all of you, she's the head organizer of the conference. That's Sam Tandy. But to me, Sam is one of my students. And I believe that Sam gave me the opportunity to be here with all of you today because Sam knew me, she liked me, and she trusted me with all of you. And I think we all know that people really do give opportunities to those they know, to those they like, and to those they trust. So then, if people give opportunities to those they know, to those they like, and to those they trust, then how can we become known, liked, and trusted? Networking, of course. I have been teaching networking at the University of Michigan for 11 years. I laugh when I think about it because I should have been the last person in the world to teach networking. I graduated Michigan without a job. But with time, I would learn how to network, and I would eventually network my way into teaching networking at Michigan. I teach the class I wish somebody would have taught me as a student. When I came to the University of Michigan as a student, I had 2 dreams. I wanted to become a future U.S. ambassador to Albania, and I wanted to become an immigration attorney. I wanted to become an immigration attorney because my family immigrated to the U.S. when I was 9 years old. I knew immigration. I was the person that would fill out all the immigration paperwork. And for extra practice, my mom over there would tell all her friends that if they needed help, Tina would be the person to help. So when I came to Michigan, I wanted to maximize my undergraduate experience and prepare for life after graduation as an immigration attorney. And I did everything the University of Michigan had to offer. I did undergraduate research with the with Europe, the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program. I did independent study. I interned at the International Institute of Flint. I did Michigan and Washington, which is a semester program in DC, where I interned at a think tank. I interned at the US Embassy in Kyiv, Ukraine. I interned when I studied abroad in Madrid. I did a lot of things. But regardless of what I thought was a very impressive resume, I still graduated Michigan without a job. Two things would happen. The first thing that happened is that somebody that I met, and I really wish I knew who it was, said to me, well, Tina, you have to learn how to network. And I was like, great, what is that? They explained something, and I don't think it really made sense, so I did the next best thing. I went to the Google. Google didn't give me much either. So then I moved on. The second thing that I remember happening was that I was asked to give a speech at the donor recognition dinner for the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts. I was a scholarship student at Michigan. I was a Bentley Scholar, an amazing opportunity given to me by the Bentley Foundation. At that dinner, I would sit next to Peggy Burns. Peggy Burns was the Dean for Development. Development. As a poli-sci major, I thought it was like international development. I would chat with Peggy and I would learn that development and development officers give philanthropists an opportunity to find meaning in their life through their giving and use those resources to support the communities those organizations served. Peggy and I hit it off. And at some point she says to me, what are you doing after graduation? I started thinking to myself, I will probably never see this person again. By the way, this is code for if you think that, you will see that person again. So I responded to her and I said, I'm studying for the LSAT and I need a part-time job. Why might you have something for me? She didn't have a chance to respond because the dean started the program. And then eventually I would go give my speech. On my way back to my seat, I remember Peggy digging through her big black purse, looking for a business card. She hands it to me and says, when you're done with the LSAT, call me. And I did something most people don't do. I actually called her. A couple of weeks later, I found myself as her research intern. A few months after that, she comes back from a conference, drops this really big binder on my desk, and says, how would you like to start a program? The program we started is 18 years old this year. It's called the College Connections Program. We hired recent grads to go and interview alumni all around the country and eventually all around the world. I met with 1,100 University of Michigan alums in 3 years. While I was working as a College Connections coordinator, I was pursuing a degree, 2 degrees, a master's in public policy and a master's in higher ed. And I had to pursue an internship. So I found myself being picked to go and intern at the US mission to the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. So I remember going to Peggy and the team and I said, would you like me to interview some alumni while I'm in Europe? And everybody said that sounds like a great idea. So I did. And guess what these alums had to say? We love U of M too. We want somebody to connect us with the college. So I brought that information back, I finished my degree, and I was going to leave to go change immigration policy in DC. Then I met a guy, and then I had to pick. Do I stay here or do I go? So I stayed, and I remember going to Peggy and saying, I'm staying. And she said, we want to keep you. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to solve for that pain point of those international alums. And that's how we got to build the International Giving and Engagement Program at the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts. And the thing that I will never forget that Peggy said was, Tina, I can't make you a US ambassador, but I can make you a UM ambassador. And that's exactly what she did. A few years after that, Peggy decided to leave U of M to go to Henry Ford, and she said, "Follow me." So I had to make this decision. Do I leave a very global job for a very local one? But the decision was very easy, because when you find someone who believes in you and someone who gives you opportunities, what do? You follow them. But before I left to go to join Peggy at Henry Ford, I had one last trip. Singapore. I found myself having lunch with the dean of the college at the Mario Batali restaurant in Marina Bay Sands. I remember this. We were eating pizza and drinking Singaporean slings, and this conversation turned into an exit interview, where the dean said, "We're going to miss you," said a lot of nice things, and then he said, "Is there anything I can do for you?" My response, yes, there is. And he's like, "Well, what is it?" I said, "I want to teach a class on networking because I don't want any other student, I don't want to see any other students graduate U of M without a job." And he's like, "That sounds great. How can I help?" I told him how he could help, and he actually helped. That conversation happened in May of 2015. I was teaching that September. So I owe the opportunity to teach the class that I love to Andrew Martin, who is the chancellor right now at WashU in St. Louis. I love being a fundraiser because I got to learn so much about living a meaningful life from my donors. So my conversations from my donors and the lessons that I was learning from them, I would bring to my students. And their conversations and reflections that I would have with my students in my Monday night class, we turned into frameworks and ideas and insights that we would eventually test in the real world. And I want to share some of those ideas with all of you here today. The first thing I want to discuss is actually the definition of networking. As soon as I say the word networking, all of you probably have a visual in your head based on the experiences that you've had with networking. What is networking to you? The definition that I'm about to share on the screen has taken me 11 years. And it will probably change again, because I always get the feedback of my students, the feedback of learners. Maybe one of you here or many of you here will send me a message afterwards with your thoughts. It's a definition that happens in real time. So here is that definition. Networking is the process of building, nurturing, and activating relationships in order to access opportunity to reach a shared goal or purpose. Networking is a process. A process is repeatable. It is not a transaction. The what of networking is accessing opportunity. We network to access opportunity. The why of networking is so we can reach a shared goal or purpose. And how we do it is through the relationship building process. Building means you meet somebody. Nurturing is the back and forth that happens as you build that relationship stronger. And then activating is when you have a lot of trust, then you can share opportunities with one another. So I have a lot of students, and myself included, we're visual learners. So this is how it plays out in a visual. You have two people. Building the relationship means now they connect. Now they know each other. Nurturing a relationship is the back and forth that happens. The more conversations you have with somebody, the thicker that line, right? The thicker the line, the higher the trust. So physics was probably my worst subject in high school. I didn't take any in college. But I often think about Newton's third law, which is for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. This plays out in relationships too. So when you reach out to someone, for a relationship to happen, they have to respond back. And if people don't respond back, then that relationship will end in atrophy. So if you reach out to people, they don't respond, you're literally talking to yourself. So only when people respond can you actually start the relationship building process. So if people engage with you, they know you back. So networking is really about who knows you. Because English is my second language, I think a lot about words. Whose? Whose are people? People give opportunities to people. So when I talk with students and they say, I got an internship at GM, I got an internship at Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola didn't give them an internship. A person at Coca-Cola made a decision to give them an internship. So as an immigrant, we believe that America is the land of opportunity. But when you land at Detroit Wayne County Airport, and then you go grab your bag, and then you go, through the automatic doors, opportunities aren't falling from the sky. You don't be like, oh, opportunity 1, opportunity 2, opportunity 3. Opportunities come from people. This insight for me, it seems so common sense, but common sense really isn't all that common. This insight led me to articulate the networking mindset. The networking mindset is the belief that we can achieve our goals and purposes through our relationship with others. Through our relationship with others. If people don't know you, then you don't have a relationship. And if you don't have a relationship, how can you access opportunity? How to achieve your goal or purpose? So I have given you a definition. I have given you a visual. I've even put some physics in there. Now I want to give you a math equation. And here is that math equation. Visibility times expertise equals opportunities. If expertise is 100%, 200%, 300%, if visibility is 0, anything multiplied by 0 is 0. Visibility matters. It's about who knows you, because most decisions that are made in rooms where you're not present. I want to share with you my favorite networking strategy. And that strategy is, if you help people get what they want, they'll help you get what you want. If you make people feel seen, heard, understood, and valued, they will do anything for you. I was chatting with somebody earlier today where they said, in today's day, age, all you have to do is be nice. So the more we do to serve other people, the more likely they will help us achieve our goals and purposes. I believe in everything that I've shared with all of you here tonight. I believe it so strongly that I believe my dream of becoming future U.S. ambassador to Albania will one day happen. Or should I say, I'm crazy enough to believe that one day it will happen. And I want to tell you exactly how it will happen. I really believe that one of my students will one day become congressman, senator, and even U.S. president. And it'll probably be Sam. They're going to find themselves in a meeting at some fancy office in D.C., and their job is to nominate ambassadors. So Sam, or one of my other students, will be texting me underneath the table, and is going to, ask, Tina, do you still want to become ambassador to Albania? And I'm going to say, yes, of course. And then they will follow it up with, fantastic. It would be my great honor to nominate you. I really do believe it will happen because people give opportunities to those they know, to those they like, to those they trust, and to those who tell the world exactly what they want. So I'll leave all of you with this. I know all of you have opportunities you want to access to reach your goals and purposes. So then the question is, how can you be the one people remember? And if any of you want my thoughts on that topic, I would love another invitation to a TED Talk. Thank you.